Hey guys, welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are taking a look at quite a unique and special game that is considered to be one of the hidden gems or unsung heroes on the PlayStation, and that is the Legend of Dragoon. The game was actually released in 3 different regions, but all at different time periods way back during the life cycle of the PlayStation 1. It originally, first off, was released in Japan towards the end of the year 1999. Then it was released in North America around the year 2000, and later then we got it released in Europe in 2001. Now, the game had been in production for quite a number of years and actually had a large budget associated to it, and it did get mixed reviews based off the fact is that reviewers were comparing it considerably to the likes of the Final Fantasy franchise because it actually plays very similar to it. I suppose they thought that it was going to be something that was actually different, but it doesn't. If you've actually played the game, or if you've had to play it, you'll even see even in the video here that there is a lot of similarities, even more so to the likes of Final Fantasy 7. Even the likes of the fighting mechanics and the movesets are very similar to the Final Fantasy games. But in all honesty, that isn't such a bad thing, because even though this game did get mixed reviews, just because a magazine gives mixed reviews of a game doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, and this game is by no means bad. This is actually a fantastic title, and it's actually a hidden gem, and graphically it's actually one of the best looking games on the PlayStation, in my opinion. It's actually a beautiful looking game. Like other RPGs before it, any games that I love, games that use like some pre-rendered backgrounds, and this game does it, and it does it really well. And even the 3D models of the characters are actually definitely among some of the best seen on the PlayStation for that time period. It is considered to be a hidden gem because if you actually go to look for a physical copy of it now, the game actually does demand quite a high price. It's going up into the hundreds now in terms of trying to find a good copy for the price. The game itself sold over 1 million copies in its lifespan, mainly in North America, but it was obviously a mix of other regions. The game did actually get a further re-release on the likes of the PlayStation Network on the PlayStation 3 way back in around 2008-2009. I remember actually buying it myself because I actually set up an American account and allowed you to actually be able to get access to games from other regions if you couldn't access, because you wouldn't get them over here in Europe. So if you were able to figure out how to set up a US account, you could get access to a ton of other games, and that was primarily how I actually got it. Now, my first experience actually with this game was actually on a demo CD, pretty much. That's even what like so I'm playing on it now. And my brother Damien, he's obsessed with RPG style games. His two of his favourite games of all time, especially on the PlayStation, are Final Fantasy 7 and Breath of Fire 3. And he actually played this and he instantly fell in love with it because it just reminded him so much of all the best features of those games that he really enjoyed playing. It had the graphical style, which it's beautiful aesthetically. It's fantastic to look at. It has very similar play characteristics, similar to those other games that he had played, like I mentioned. And if you're familiar with them, you definitely will feel right at home here. It really is an incredible title. There's a lot to actually do. Even though the paths and the levels are quite linear, you're given like pretty much a set path to follow, but there's still a lot of exploration elements. But you can't deny how beautiful the game actually looks for a PlayStation title. It is quite incredible. The game itself really is aesthetically beautiful. Like, it pretty much is considered to be a masterpiece among the PlayStation fans of the era, because not only just are the pre-rendered backgrounds some of the best seen in any of those type of games on the console, even the likes of the 3D scenes with the fight scenes, if you look at the graphics here, some of the graphics are actually among some of the best seen on the platform, and it really does look incredible. Like a lot of other RPG games that were released on the system, they do have a unique kind of play style and fighting style. If you've played quite a few of them, they are quite similar. Graphically, they're usually very good. They've always got very good stories, and this here is actually no exception. This actually is a hidden gem. in my opinion. Because I remember actually it was a demo that we did originally play. And remember actually, because now I wouldn't have been, it's not that I didn't like RPG games, I just never played them as much back in the day on the PlayStation, and my brother used to play them to death. They were the only games really that he played, and he absolutely loved this. And I remember him saying to me, Peter, you actually have to play this, because if you like these style of games with, because he knew that I was big into pre-rendered background games, anything that was similar to the likes of like even Resident Evil, but even not so much. Resident Evil was a totally different game, but I just loved the graphical style, like with the fixed camera angles and so forth. And this had that, and I remember actually seeing it, and I was really intrigued by it, and I couldn't believe how good it actually was. And he says, you know what, just play it and just see what you think of it. And at first I kind of was a little bit on the reluctant side, but then when I seen him sitting down and playing it and how much he was enjoying it, I was like, you know what, I'll give it a go. And you know what, I actually did really enjoy it. Again, it's very similar to the likes of other RPG style games. It has like random battles, you have to level up your characters and so forth. And it's funny when you actually get into these type of games, even though you wouldn't think that you would actually like them, the more you actually sit down with them, the more addictive they actually get. The demo, actually, I have to say now, was definitely one of the longest demos now that I've ever played, especially like even considering it is an RPG title. There's at least a good nearly an hour's worth just of content just on the demo alone, which is quite incredible. So you definitely got your money's worth with the magazine, even though the particular demo that I played it on actually had quite a number of games on it. But this was definitely easily the biggest bang for your buck, basically. So it really definitely is something to look at. Just the demo alone, you'd have so much fun. But then when I look back, myself, my brothers, my friends and that, growing up when we used to play the PlayStation, we used to get as much fun out of playing the demos as we did out of the actual games. And to actually play something like this here where you really got your money's worth out of it was quite incredible. You'd actually would play it again and again and again, because the fun with the demos was you would always try to find something new. You'd play to a point where you tried to figure everything out in it. You'd always try to explore, try to find hidden secrets, even hidden glitches, or even try to break the game. You'd always try to do something, and that's what was so cool about it. You used to have so much fun with it. And this here was definitely one of the best type of demos that I actually played, because like I said, it kept you playing for quite a while. Again, you've an array of different characters, each with their own move sets, and you have to obviously explore the terrain. You have to get into loads of fights. You get into a lot of random fights, and eventually at certain point you will always come across, like say, an area boss where you have to defeat them in order to progress. You can't really progress until you defeat them, but you have to get yourself to a point where you have to level up your skills and attributes until you're actually powerful enough to be able to make your encounters that much more easier to deal with, basically. And this here is no exception. But if you look at it here and you look at the graphical style and the quality of the visuals of the game, it is definitely a fantastic looking game, and it's actually easily one of the best looking RPG style games on the PlayStation. And you can clearly see why it is considered not only a hidden gem, but it's also considered an all-time classic as well, even though it sold like over 1 million copies worldwide. Regardless of the reviews that it got, it still holds its own, and it's still considered to be one of the best RPG games on the system even to this day, and it's highly regarded. And the thing is, people actually are always looking for it. Anyone that's into these type of games at all, people are always regarding this one. They're always on the lookout for it to see if they can actually get it or even have an opportunity to play it. So I do highly recommend, if you do get a chance to play this game, I really do recommend you do play it. Even for myself, that wouldn't play as many RPGs, but I have been playing them more so in recent years, and I'm really starting to get back into them, and this is definitely one of them. This is a fantastic title, and I do recommend you play it. So I'd love to know your thoughts on this game, and if you have played it, and if so, what are your thoughts on it? Did you enjoy it? Make sure to share your thoughts down in the comments below. So if you have enjoyed this game, please be sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and make sure to hit the bell icon to be updated whenever I release future content, and share the video, as I am going to be re-exploring a lot of these old classics and sharing my thoughts and experiences with everyone. So as always, make sure to keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and keep those gaming memories alive.